The high-profile case coming to an abrupt halt. Jurors could not come to a unanimous decision. And we're hearing from jurors who sat through weeks of testimony, the family of the suspect, and the victims of the fire who say they're still searching for accountability. 30-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht faced 3 federal charges for allegedly setting the Lockman fire. 6 days later, it became the Palisades Fire. 10 jurors were set on a not guilty verdict, and 2 were determined to convict him. We have team coverage from the downtown LA courthouse to Pacific Palisades. We begin with investigative reporter Eric Leonard, who was in court today when the mistrial was declared. Eric, what was the reaction in the courtroom this morning?
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, not so much to the mistrial, because the jurors had indicated they were divided and hopelessly in different corners here yesterday. The gasp, if there was one, it was small, came when the jury announced what that split was, that it was 10-2 in favor of acquittal or not guilty. The 2 jurors who believed Jonathan Rinderknecht should be convicted, according to the jury foreperson, were dead set and unmovable from their positions, and he's told the judge there was no point to try to continue deliberations. It's a victory, a win for Rinderknecht's defense, a frustration for his family.
It's like this is a big victory, and it feels so unfair.
Jonathan Rinderknecht's father, Joel, outside court, relieved the jury did not vote to convict his son of igniting the January 2025 wildfires in the Pacific Palisades.
Here we have a mistrial, and not just that, but 10 of the jury said they were convinced that Jonathan was innocent.
Jurors told the judge after 13 hours of deliberation they were stuck and would not be able to reach verdicts on any of the 3 arson charges. One juror who spoke outside court says there were too many uncertainties in the government's theory of the case.
I personally feel he was not guilty because there was just no way to prove that he was the sole and only person on that hill.
That hill was a clearing above the Palisades Summit neighborhood where the January 1st, 2025 Lockman fire started. Prosecutors said cell phone data put Rinderknecht at the scene, but the defense pointed out they didn't get cell data from Verizon, meaning there could have been other active phones and people in the area. Plus, this juror says there wasn't direct evidence Rinderknecht lit the fire.
I really feel he's not guilty.
Prosecutors plan to retry Rinderknecht, the U.S. Attorney's Office posted on social media. The evidence is strong, and we fully intend to retry this case before a new jury and obtain guilty verdicts. The judge set that trial for October 19th. Defense lawyer Steve Haney.
There's no evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed that crime.
He says he's surprised the government plans to try again and says his client was encouraged by this jury's findings.
The jury heard the evidence for 2.5 weeks and pretty resoundingly found that the government's case was not strong and they didn't have enough evidence to convict him.
The 3 prosecutors who handled this trial left court without comment. Rinderknecht is going to remain in jail until that new trial date set for October 19th. The judge denied the defense request for him to be released on bond. Live outside federal court in downtown LA, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
Yeah, Eric, and that defense attorney shutting down a deal, saying his client didn't do it. Very interesting there. Thank you so much for that. And we're also hearing from people who lost their homes and businesses in the Palisades fire. NBC4's Keenan Willard joins us now from the Palisades. Keenan, this brings up a lot of emotion and for the time being, no closure.
Understandably so, Annabelle. I mean, people look around and see the rebuilding that is still very much underway here. This announcement of a mistrial taking them back to some of those feelings from January of last year and bringing up strong feelings about what this mistrial means and what should happen next in this case. Some people told me today who lost their homes, lost their businesses, that ultimately they don't believe Rinderknecht bears all the responsibility for the devastation you can still see here in the Palisades. Others wanting the government to continue with the case, restart it again because they want to see someone held accountable.
I don't think making a decision about that is going to change anything. The damage is done, and I don't think it was his fault.
Disappointment that we can't get resolution. We have so many people at fault at so many levels.
This was a scapegoat attempt, 100%, for the failed administration's, actions, response.
We've been out here in Pacific Palisades talking to people, getting their reactions since that deadlock was declared in this case against Jonathan Rinderknecht. Some people told me that they followed this case and they didn't feel there was enough evidence to convict him. Others said even if he did set this fire, they feel the blame for the destruction here in the Palisades lies with the Los Angeles Fire Department, saying the fire never should have been able to smolder for 6 days before finally raging out of control when the strong winds hit here. But among everyone we spoke with, there was this real tangible sense of exhaustion and frustration. They tell me this community in the Palisades is still barely beginning the rebuilding process over a year after this fire, and any decision in a courtroom wouldn't bring justice to those who lost everything.
Changed everything. We lost our home, we lost our business in 24 hours.
We're happy to see it happen. We're happy to see the rebuilding, but it's not a pleasant life. We don't have a grocery store. We don't have any services here, and it's been tough.
I think that the fire department mishandled it, and they should have made sure that the fire was out, and they didn't.
Now we're going to continue following the community's strong reaction to this mistrial announcement this morning. In Pacific Palisades, Keenan, Willard, NBC4 News.
All right, Keenan, thank you very much for that. And NBC4's Brittany Hope also spoke to a resident of the Palisades. She's been following his story since this fire started.
Overall, it's a lot of mixed emotions. That is the main reaction. I can tell you, I first met Peter Branch on January 1st. That is when the Lockman fire happened. I was there at 3-4 in the morning when firefighters were still there, and he lived nearby, so he went to check it out. Well, a few days later, he lost his home in the Palisades fire, and still he has not been able to rebuild. I was able to talk to him on Zoom moments after we learned about the mistrial, and here's what he said.
Of course I care. But I kind of figured that this was going to happen one way or the other, and it was going to be really hard to convict him on the grounds of starting the Palisades fire, even though he may have directly started the first fire, which that's also up in the air. So, you know, there's a lot of elements. I don't know everything. It's frustrating, you know, we want to move on. We want a definite closure one way or the other. So this kind of, you know, it kind of still keeps the ball in motion, so to speak. And yeah, it's a little unsettling, but it is what it is.
And no closure, at least for today. I have to tell you, I mean, he grew up in the Palisades, raised his kids in the Palisades. This is someone who's really involved in the community. So just one example of the mixed emotions, the frustration that people are feeling. This is just so not over yet. We're reporting in downtown Brittany Hope, NBC4 News.
And our coverage of the trial will continue today. We have a team of reporters covering everything from the trial to reaction from the Palisades community. You can also get the latest on our website, NBCLA.com, and the NBCLA app.